What's good, everybody? NicMakesPlays here. Today, I'm going to go over the new branded Despia deck I got first place my locals with. This deck is absolutely broken. Like, I cannot even stress how good this deck is. It's so crazy. It's probably my new favorite deck. So, the main goal of today's video is to give you, a good day one build. But I think this build's really, really strong. I think it's already pretty refined. And the most important thing I want to show you, actually, is the refined combo. So, a lot of people on YouTube are probably showing, combos to make, Red Edge Dark Dragoon, turn 1, Flight Hex Fusion. So there's a combo that's a million times better than that, in every single way. And I want to showcase you the, optimal Despia combo today. So, yeah, I'll go over the deck, and I'll also make sure I show you the proper combo if you want to take this deck to full potential, try and win tournaments with it, whatever. But, yeah, here's my deck, and let's get started. All right, and if you guys are big fans of Despia, the Bragg Structure deck, the Albaz Structure deck, are you excited to see the best optimal combos to try and win your locals with, whatever tournaments with, your YCS, stuff like that, then make sure you like and subscribe and comment below what you guys think about the video. But here we go. So 3 Albaz, pretty straightforward. Searches Branded Fusion or Branded Red. A lot of this deck, when I make the profile, I'll kind of go into the combos later. So I'll go in the cards just kind of quickly, and then I'll show you how you do the different things. But you will be searching Branded Fusion. If you already Branded Fusion, you'll be searching Branded Red, and it's all part of the combo. I'll show you later. So this card also has a graveyard effect. If a fusion leaves the field, it reborns, and then it can negate opponent's monster to the end of the turn, which is a nice little bonus effect, so that's cool. Alright, next card's 3 Edgem Chain. I'm running 3 this card because it's really good discard target for Branded Opening, Super Poly, stuff like that. You can discard it for Rebellion, search Fight for Patchwork. This card's just really good synergy, this deck, because obviously the Fight for Patchwork, but it makes Chimera, Guardian Chimeras spam really easy, and it just gives you a never-ending card engine value. And yeah, this card is actually absolutely insane in this deck. We'll get into why later. It's mostly for Fight for Patchwork. So, Despian Tragedies next. So, this card is the main card you send with the Branded Fusion. You send this plus Fallen of Albaz, and it searches you the, I guess the next one I'll show you is the Libitum of Despia. So, again, the main combo, I'll go over how you do it, but essentially, you use this to search this, and then you fuse with this to Branded Red next turn, and then lets you reborn your Mirror Jade and use it again. But I'll get into that. 2 Fallen of Albaz. Honestly, I don't know if you need 1 or 2. The reason I ran 2, because obviously the deck just came out yesterday. I didn't want to be put in a spot where one of mine was banished, and then I couldn't fuse for anything, or I couldn't access one, so I ran 2. It's not that bad of a brick to draw, because you can just fuse with it for Guardian Chimera, but most of the main new fusion monsters in the structure that are very strong need Fallen of Albaz. So I liked 2 just to make sure I could always access them if I need them, especially if I wanted to do 2 in 1 turn. Alright. So, hand traps. So, next we have 3 Ash Blossom. Amazing, negates Branded Fusion, negates, it's just best pattern in the game, you guys understand why, right? Alright, next is Veiler. So, I'm going to explain this card real quick, or not really explain it, but more so how you use it in the mirror match. So, you want to use this in the mirror match to stop Rebellion, okay? So, if people are wondering, oh, you can just use Branded Opening, and then you can use Albaz in the draw phase, you can't Veiler them. Well, you actually want to use this on Rebellion. So they Albaz, I mean, you can Veiler Albaz, I guess, but I think it might be better just to Veiler the Rebellion and ruin their whole combo. So yeah, you want to use this on Rebellion in the mirror match. So let's get into spells. I also want to mention real quick that Ghost Spell and Haunted Mansion probably will go up in the main deck, go in the main deck of this, because it stops Branded Red, which is one of the main parts of the combo, and it probably destroys the mirror. So yeah, Ash, Veiler, and then probably Ghost Spell will be added, and Haunted Mansion to stop Branded Red. Also stop Scythe Lock, which is nice. All right, spells. 3 Fight for Patchwork. Alright, this card is so insane. You activate it, and then it searches you Polymerization and Edge of Chain, and then you can use Edge of Chain, you can discard for Rebellion, or fuse with it, whatever, and get another Fight for Patchwork. It just gives you infinite cards, which allows you to keep spamming Guardian Chimera over and over again. And if you have Polymerization in Graveyard, which you can search off this, your Guardian Chimera can't be targeted. So, we'll get into that later, but yeah, this card, the Fight for package is this Polymerization of Edge of Chain. It's so insane to just get, infinite cards, and it helps all the bricks with Edge of Chain discarding off the discard effects to just search Fight for package, and you just never run out. 2 Polymerization. So I run 3 Edge of Chain, 3 Fight for package. Only 2 of these, though, because this card is a bit more of a brick. At least the Edge of Chains you can discard for Branded Opening, Super Poly, and they're monsters for Guardian Chimera. I run 2 of this. So usually what you do is you discard 1 in the graveyard, so your Guardian Chimera can't be targeted. It's a bonus effect. It has Polymerization in graveyard, Guardian Chimera can't be targeted. So it's just a nice little thing, make it harder for your opponent. Also, they can't Veiler Impermanent if you do that. And then the other one you can just use naturally to fuse for Guardian Chimera or whatever. So yeah, Polymerization, it mostly just search off Fight for Patchwork. You just, this engine's insane. You get infinite cards. Also, the reason I'm not running the Brave engine is because it shuts off your Albaz. You can't almost win Albaz, which you think would be fine, but you have to always have Brand Opening to play around that. It's just not worth it. Like, this is so much better than the Brave Engine, in my opinion. All right, so 3 Pot of Prosperity, straightforward. Let you dig. Like, if they like Valor your Albert or whatever, you can just Prosperity and try to get Branded Fusion. Let you keep going. All right, so so let's get into the juicy parts, the actual branded cards. Oh, we're not there yet. Okay, so 3 Super Poly, amazing in the mirror, good versus the Scythe Lock decks because you can Super Poly with their Variant Conde and their DPE to try and make Starving Venom before they Scythe Lock you. A lot of people play around it, but in general, this card's just really good. Especially, again, the mirror matches, we can just Super Poly them and you just win for free. Alright, now let's actually get into the fusions, the new cards. Okay, so Branded Infusion. This card is really strong. It lets you fuse from your deck. Again, I'll go over all the combos like right after I do the main deck. But yeah, it fuses, and I'll show you what you do with it from the deck. This is the new card from the structure deck that makes the deck broken. And you want to search a Stop Albert most of the time. Sometimes just search Branded or Red if you already have this, but again, I'll show you in the combos. Branded Opening, pretty good. Lets you get more copies of Albert. You can use it in the draw phase. So if you use this in the draw phase and your Albert can't be Valor because it's in the draw phase, and Valor has to be during the main phase. Also, it plays around Draw and Lockbird because you can't draw Lockbird in the draw phase either. So if you like Albert search in the draw phase, they can't draw you. Draw and Lockbird, that is. So pretty good. Okay, next is Branded Red. This card is, oh my god, this card is insane. This is the main combo of the deck. Is you're gonna want to set this off of Albion. I'll get to it in a second, and then this just gives you infinite value to reuse Tragedy, and it lets you reuse Mirror Jades a lot. And you'll see this card is for one card. This card does a lot. I'll show you. Last card, 3 Imperm. I like Imperm a lot in this deck because, again, if they Branded Opening, you can still just like Imperm their Album in the draw phase. You can do this on the Lubellion. It's good against Scythe Lock to stop their Scythe if they, because they have to shotgun Scythe, because if they don't, if you like, hey, if you're playing Scythe Lock and they shotgun Scythe, you just Imperm it. And if they don't shotgun Scythe, you can go, okay, main phase 1, and then you can do Branded Fusion. And if they try and kill Scythe, it revolves in a separate chain, so this will resolve. So either way, you're in a good spot. But yeah, pretty good. And the only change I would make maybe is add Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion for Branded Reds in the mirror match and Scythe Lock. All right, time to go through the extra deck. So I mostly want to show you guys the main combos and like how you use the extra deck in practice. But I should go over the cards to do before we show the combo, just so you guys know what's going on. So here's my extra deck. So I run 3 of the Albion. So the reason I run 3 is you usually just send 2 with Mirror Jade. Like these are always throughout a game just like sent with Mirror Jade. So I wanted to have 1 to actually summon itself. But what this card does is you summon it, you can banish cards from your graveyard, diffuse from your graveyard as materials. But more importantly, it's used for its other effect. When sent to the graveyard, at the end of the turn, you set a Branded Spell or Trap card from your deck. So that's the main way we're going to be using this to set up Mirror Jade to set Spell and Trap card from your deck. But yeah, and I wanted 2 to send and then 1 to actually summon. The third one's a flex spot, but you definitely need 2. All right. So next card is Mirror Jade. This card's absolutely broken. I cannot believe this card is even like printed. Like, the more I read it, the better it gets. So let's just go over what it does because it's so insane. All right. So you summon this card. You send as a cost. It's a quick effect. So you use it either player's turn. You send as a cost an extract from monster to the graveyard to banish a monster on the field. Okay. So as a cost, you send this. So your cost is just to activate this effect to get a set Spell or Trap card at the end phase, which is already insane. So if they effect Valor it or Impermanent or something, you still get this set Branded Fusion Spell or Trap zone at the end of the turn. Then it banishes a card, and then its other effect is that if this card's destroyed, you can activate it, or I think it's when it leaves the field. If it leaves the field because it's opponent's card that includes by battle, you can activate it, and at the end of the turn, it destroys all your opponent's monsters. So you already banished one of their monsters. You get a Branded Spell or Trap card set at the end of the turn, and it destroys other cards if it dies. The only stipulation is that if you use this card, you can't use its effect next turn, but it's per copy. So what you can do is just use it, get rid of it, and then reborn it back with a Libitum, which I'll show you, and you can just use it again. So yeah, this card is insane. All right, so that's that. The next card in the extra deck is Lubellion. So Lubellion, you run 2 of these Lubellion cards. This is the main part of the combos. You want a Branded Fusion for this guy. He just says discard a card, and then you can shuffle monsters from your Banish Zone, Graveyard, or Field into the deck to fuse again. So what you want to do is summon this. You like discard like whatever cards in your hand, and you fuse with itself plus the Fallen of Albaz in your graveyard. You send out Branded Fusion for Mirror Jade. That's how you summon the Mirror Jade, and that's also the main thing you're doing up Branded Fusion in this deck. So yeah, two Lubellion, pretty good. Also, it's just like generically easy to make and has good stats. So. All right. So next we have the best card, or I guess the best card alongside Mirror Jade, is 2 Guardian Chimera. You can even run 3 if you want. So I was borrowing one for the tournament. That's why I only have the one. But okay, so this card is so insane, especially the Edge of Chain engine and like the Fight for Patchwork. So you can just keep spamming these over and over. Let's just like go over what this does real quick. First off, it's 3300, 3300. Okay, so you fuse it with 3 different monsters. So for every card you fuse with from the hand, it draws that many cards, and every card you fuse with from the field, it destroys that many cards. So traditionally, what you're gonna be doing is fusing with 2 from the hand and 1 from the field. So you'll blow up a card in the enemy field and draw 2. Okay. Alternatively, if you use 1 from the hand and 2 on the field, you'll blow up 2 other cards and draw 1. This card does not target, so they have to do things before you like once it resolves, you just blow up their cards. It also destroys back rows. So a lot of time what you can do if you're going second against like trap heavy decks is like do the Fight for Package, whatever, like Fight for Patrick and stuff. You fuse for this and you just blow up their back rows, or you try to blow up their back rows with like you can use an Albaz, search, and then destroy 1 card. Its other bonus effect is really insane. Its last line says it can't be targeted if you have Polymerization in Graveyard. So what you can do is off Libellion, you can discard Polymerization. So when you summon this, you have a 3300, 3300 that draws 2, blows up a card, and can't be targeted. It also can't be stopped by Valor Imperm if you do this. So that's very strong. But yeah, this card, you might even need to run 3 for like grindier games because you just want to spam this. Like just, again, big beefy guy, draws cards, blows up cards, can't be targeted. He's one of the main parts of the combo as well, which we'll get into. Alright, so next, I guess we can just go over the generic cards. We have the Despia guys. These are good ways to fuse with the actual Despia units. You don't actually use them as much as the other targets. Like the ones we already just showed you, the Mirror Jade and Guardian Chimera, are the main things you're going to be fusing with. But this one, whenever your opponent uses a card or effect, they have to pay 600 to activate it. So what you can do in like mid-game is you get your opponent down to like 2,000. You can just summon this and then they burn themselves out. It also reborns. I think it's, what does it say? If your opponent controls a Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Execute, or Link monster, basically an extract monster, while it's in the graveyard, you can reborn it, and then banish or release the field, so it just comes back. That's nice. It's a cool little bonus effect. Next is the Despia Quiritus. So this card, you can, either player's turn, you can make everything besides level 8 or higher fusions go to 0 attack. It's really good to go for a game like that. Also, when it leaves the field, you're able to special summon a Fallen Albaz or a Despia monster from the deck. So you can summon Jester, search a card, or Fallen Albaz, and then use Fallen Albaz effect to fuse a card. I guess I should have mentioned that when going through Fallen Albaz, because you usually don't use it that much, but this card has the effect where, when summoned, you can discard a card to fuse with your opponent's monsters. You can, like, this dies, like, you get this, you fuse with your opponent's Later Dark, whatever, and make this guy. So that's pretty good. But yeah, mostly the other cards we showed you are the main combo. This is just the rest. So Titaniclad. So the reason I run Titaniclad is actually mostly for Super Poly. If you play against Florindes, you can use the Fallen of Albaz here. If you can get it in defense or whatever, you can, or in general if you just have this plus Super Poly, you can fuse with this plus their End Pen and get rid of it for Titaniclad. But you could also use Titaniclad's bonus effect when sent to the graveyard. You search Fallen of Albaz at the end of the turn. So the way you would do this is if you've already used the Albion's graveyard effect off Mirror Jade, and then you summon a second Mirror Jade in the same turn, you can send Titaniclad and get just free Fallen of Albaz, which is nice. It's a monster you can use to fuse with Guardian Chimera. So there's some flex spots in the extra deck. I guess we'll go over the main cards before I get to those. This card's insane. One of your best Super Poly targets in the deck. Just takes 2 darks, so any 2 dark you can use it against the Despia Mirror. You can use it against this is how you Super Poly against DP, Vertical Dependent on Conde. And when you summon it, it gains attack equal to 1 card in your opponent's field you target. It also can choose once per turn. It can choose one of your opponent's monsters and steal their effect for the turn. So like if they have like Baron, you can like steal the effect to Baron to negate a card. Then also when it's destroyed, it destroys all your opponent's special monsters. So what you can do is like Super Poly, Vertiplant Anaconda, and DP, summon this. You try and hit Steal Baron's effect. They have to negate it, or else you get a destroy and Omni negate if you steal Baron to Floor's effect. So they'll negate it, and then it'll just destroy their whole field. So very broken, very good card. Mudragon is a flex spot, but it's just a good Super Poly target. It just takes 2 monsters of the same attribute, different types. It's just supposed to be generic. The rest of the extract's kind of a flex spot. Last is Anaconda. So you need to run this card. I know it may sound weird because a lot of the fusion cards, like Branded Fusion, say you can't do anything but fuse rest turns. You can't play links. But in like slower grindier games where everyone has a lot of hand traps, sometimes you'll have to just like I had a game where I Sanctum somebody for Artifact Scythe, and then which was my side deck, I'll show you later. And then I summoned Edge of Chain, made this, and you just like get Branded Fusion. And it's not insane that turn, but you're still able to get in the game and get your engine going. So then the next turn, you just like pop off. But yeah, you just want to have a way to, if you break or grind your games, access your Fusion engine and get going. And then yeah, we should have extra spot. I'll probably make a third Guardian Chimera. I had Dragoon here just to show you that you don't need to use it in this deck, but yeah. All right, let's get to the main combos. Here we go. So what most people are doing is they activate Branded Fusion. They send Light Hex Fusion. We can just say this is Light Hex Fusion because I took it out because it's a much better combo. And Fallen of Albaz. They make this guy. They banish both, and they make Dragoon, and they pass. So all they have is a 1 negate. It's just a Dragoon. It's really not that good. You can just Super Poly it, or if you can get the Fallen of Albaz, you can Super Poly that. This card's just not that great in the mirror, and you have no card. Like that's all you have. Like you're just done with your turn. All right, so this is the alternative. So one play you can do this. I'm gonna show you a play that's a million times better than this, to the point where you're like, wow, I could just not even buy Dragoon. Like this is so much better. What you can do with Guardian Chimera and Mirror Jade instead. So instead of doing this combo, which you might have been seeing on YouTube, I'm gonna show you the better combo. All right, so what you're gonna do in this deck is you play. Let's just say you play the Jester, and then you search the Branded Fusion. Okay, so Branded Fusion activate. You send Fallen of Albaz. And then you send Despia Tragedy. And you summon Lubellion. This guy. So Lubellion says discard a card. So you just discard like whatever. So just say like you just discard whatever card you have in your hand. And then you fuse using the Lubellion itself. Goes back to the extra deck. And the Fallen of Albaz goes back in the deck. And you summon Mirror Jade. And then what happens here is Tragedy will go off and it'll search your Libitum. Okay. So far we have this. We have this, Libitum in hand. Okay. So this card's effect is you can banish a monster in the field. So we have to banish our own Jester here. To send a guy from our extra deck to the graveyard. We'll send Albion. This one. And Albion lets you set a branded spell or trap at the end phase of the turn. So what we're going to do is set branded to red. So at first, you're probably looking at the field and you're like, wow. So all you did with your Branded Fusion was get this card that you can't use next turn because its effect is if you use it this turn, you can't use it next turn. And you just get a branded red. And you have this in hand. But here's what happens next. On their turn, you flip the branded in red, add Tragedy back to your hand. You banish this, and this, to make Guardian Chimera. And then what happens is Guardian Chimera will draw you 2 cards and blow up a card on the side of the field it does not target. Then these effects will go off, and this will special summon the Mirror Jade again. And then Tragedy will search you another Albaz for next turn. So now you have Jester in hand, you draw 2, you blew up a card, and you have this. Now you can, this is a new copy of the card, you can use this effect again, and you can send another Albion from the graveyard and banish one of their cards. And then at the end phase, that'll set, I guess you can get another Branded Fusion if you want. So you end with this. So, and you also drew 2 cards, so you get 2 cards in hand. All right, so what you can do is you can either just make Dragoon with Light Hex Fusion, or you can draw 2 cards, blow up a card, banish one of their cards, set a Branded Fusion from your deck, search Jester, and draw 2 more cards. So that's the alternative here. Is either just a Dragoon or a banish, a destroy, get a Branded Fusion itself back, draw 2, search a Jester. All off just this is all off just one of these in a discard, which you obviously always have turn 1. So yeah, the main combo of this deck is just finding different ways to do this. Is just trying to get the Chimera Jade. Oh, also Jade is another effect where if it dies, at the end of the turn you blow up the entire enemy board. So if they even remove this card, then you just blow up their field at the end of the turn. And if you have Polymerization engraved, this can't be targeted. This is a 3300. So it's very hard to deal with. You can't target it, like very hard. So yeah, this is the better combo. Obviously, draw 2, a banish, a blow up, a Branded Fusion, and a Jester is better than just a simple Dragoon. Now let's show you what happens with if you have Brandon and Red already, or if you already have like these 2 cards, because this is a very common scenario. So put these back. All right. So let's say you have both of these, or actually, let's say you have the Jester plus either of these, because you can just search whatever one you don't have. So let's just say we have these 2, but you could also just have these. You could also just have these 2. All right. Anyways, so Summon Jester is in our hand. We'll search Brandon and Red. Okay. Activate Brandon Fusion. We'll be sending the Tragedy and sending the Fallen of Albaz to the graveyard to make Lebellion. And then Lebellion will discard a card, just whatever card from your hand. You just start Edge of Chain and then gets effect search Viper Patchwork, which is pretty cool. So discard a card. And then the Tragedy will search the Libitum. So you'll fuse again itself, plus the Fallen of Albaz back into the deck, and you will get Mirror Jade. Now the reason this is a bit crazy is normally you'd have to banish your own Despia guy to set the Brandon Red, but since you can just search it off the Jester, you actually will get to use this twice next turn. So what will happen is you'll set this from hand, and then you'll pass. All right, opponent goes. Then you go, they do whatever. You're like, okay, Mirror Jade, banish one of your monsters. Sending this to the graveyard. So then they lose a monster. So far they're already down. A monster got banished. Then, whenever they do something else, you can go, okay, Brandon Red. Add Tragedy back. Fuse with this. Summon Guardian Chimera. Again. And then you'll draw 2 and destroy one of their cards. So let's just say, okay, so your hand so far is you drew 2 cards. And then your effects go off where you get another Mirror Jade. And then you also get to search off Tragedy. So you get an Albaz to your hand. So now you got a Jester, 2 draws, you already banished a card, and you blew up one of their cards. And you can use this Mirror Jade again, because this is a new copy of the card. So then they try to do something else, and you're like, okay, Mirror Jade, effect, again. And you can send Titaniclad this time, just to like search Fallen Albaz for a free search. So what happens here is that you got 2 banishes, a destroy, a search, 2 draws, then at end phase, you can set the Brandon Fusion from your deck again, off the Albon effect. Titaniclad can go off, give you a free Fallen of Albaz to your hand, just to fuse with for another Guardian Chimera. So your end board looks like this, where you're able to just have all these cards in hand, plus a set Brandon Fusion, plus you banish 2 other cards and blow up a card, and you have Jester on the field. So this is all off just Brandon Fusion plus Albaz. This is also, if you just have the Albaz or the Brandon Fusion, then you can just do the first combo. This just one gives you an extra Mirror Jade banish effect, and it gives you a Titaniclad, so that's good. So yeah, this combo is insanely strong. This is pretty much like the best combo in the deck, I think. Let me know in the comments below what combos you guys think, or if you think that made sense. You know, if you have any clarification on how to do this combo, just make sure you let me know. But this combo is way better than the Dragoon thing. If you guys were planning on just doing that, this is literally you're destroying like 3 of their cards and like drawing 4 cards and like searching like 3 cards. It's insane. And last but not least, we have the side deck. The side deck has some spicy stuff in it, so I'll show you that. There are definitely some interesting stuff. So first off is 3 Sanctum and Scythe. So at first, I didn't think this was even like a good concept really, because you can't do like the DP Scythe lock naturally. But the guy who got second in Swiss at the YCS actually played the Invoke deck, right? The Alistair Invoke Ecclesia deck. And he sided 3 Sanctum and Scythe, and he got second in Swiss in the YCS. So I thought it was a good idea to just try out at the locals, and I played the mirror, and I sancted him and got Scythe, and I won. So just trying it out. It seems pretty good. It's generically good because it's good in the mirror, and it's also good against the against 60 card piles, prank kids, whatever. Scythe's just insane. Shut off the extra deck, so you just run 3 Sanctum, 1 Scythe. Also with Prosperity in deck going first, a lot of times like you'll play Albaz and they'll Valor you. Let's say you don't have like Brandon Fusion, you're like, all right, Prosperity. And if you hit Sanctum, you're like, okay, your turn, Sanctum, get Scythe, and then they shut off their turn and you're able to just like do whatever next turn. So pretty good. Next we have a lot of back row hate. We have 2 Feather Duster, 3 Cosmic Cyclone. So Trap Eldritch is very important right now in the meta because it beats the prank kids if it goes first. It's had an amazing showing at YCF North Carolina, so it's very popular, especially at local level. If you're playing at locals, you need to have the back row hate. So Red Reboot, Harvey's Feather Duster, if you can pull this off, you can blow up their whole back rows or shut them off for the turn and just kill them. 3 Cosmic Cyclones. This card is absolutely amazing. You can even main 2 of these, I think. So the reason why is every deck has something you can hit it on. Against Scythe Lock decks, you can just banish the Scythe when they DP, and then they won't be able to Scythe Lock you. In the mirror match, you can use this against, if they have like the combo I was talking about, you just activate it on their branded red. It forces them to come out early, but you don't have any cards on the field to destroy, so they really don't get any value out of it. And then you can just like do whatever you want. Obviously good against skill drain, stuff like that in the trap matchups. Against Florindes, you can do draw phase or just before the main phase, draw phase, standby phase. Use this on their Dreamy Town that they set. And then that card can only be used in the main phase, so they can't use Dreamy Town. Good versus, good versus like literally everything. Like you will find ways to do this, but you can even main this, I think, because some people it just helps your game 1 against Trap Outlet if you main 2. All right, so let's get into the spicier stuff in a second. So Call by the Grave. I decided this for going first. You can main this if you want. I don't like maining it that much just because it's really bad going second. Maybe with a stronger deck you could do that. I was playing I guess Humble Brag, but not really. I went 8-3 and I bubbled the YCS Charlotte. I brick game 3 on the bubble for top cut with the Invoke Dogmatica deck. And that deck wasn't that strong in power level, so going second, I couldn't afford to have this in my hand. I only wanted going first. Now that I'm playing a stronger deck, maybe you can afford to just like have a card that's not that great going second, but really good going first. But yeah, I decided when I go first, you want to use this if they Ash your Branded Fusion. You want to use this on this, because they discard Ash for cost, and you just banish it, and then negates Ash, and you can resolve Branded Fusion. Or if they Valor your Libellion, you also want to use this. Also, it's good if they have Ghost Spell, because if they discard Ghost Spell, stop your Branded Red next turn, you can also do that. So yeah, this is just I decide whenever I go first. 3 draw on Lockbird. Good versus the Brave Piles, good versus Prank Kids, good versus Florindes. It's pretty just overall insane card. I usually main it. It's one of the best cards I had at the YCS in the main deck, because I thought it was just insane in that format, but it's a bit weak versus the branded deck, so I only decided now. Alright, so let's get into the spicy stuff. The last 2 cards are the spicy stuff. We have Zombie World and Necro World Banshee. So, this is for Florindes. So, this card, Zombie World, against Florindes, it turns everything to a zombie, so all their banished Florindes cards can't go to hand, because they have to see a Wing Beast summon that makes them all zombies. They don't get any refuel, any grind game's gone. They also can't tribute for anything but zombies. They can't tribute N-Pen. So they can't tribute for N-Pen, which is pretty much their whole deck, or Mega Ryza, or Avion, and they don't get any of their banished Florindes back. It's basically just like an auto win if they don't kill it against the Florindes deck. This card, if it's sent at the graveyard, or it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to search Zombie World. So what you do is you just use Branded Fusion, and then you send this card plus Fallen Albaz, and you can just like summon whatever. I guess like this guy's fine. Yeah, this is fine. And then you just banish, so that your field is this. This is your grave. You just banish this, and then you search the Zombie World, and you activate it, and then you just win. So it's a searchable. I guess you can call it more or less an auto win against Florindes. It's for the Florindes matchup going first. But you have so many ways to get it, because you have 3 Aliber can search Branded Fusion, you have 3 Branded Fusion, you can draw it itself and just fuse with it from hand with Polymerization and the Fright First and stuff. So yeah, very strong. Alright, so that's my deck. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about the deck, the combo, stuff like that. I hope this helped out. If you have any questions about the main combo deck I went over, then of course make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully more videos soon. Thanks.